A single apple can spark a thought. I'm Edwin. There is a major story unfolding in the Middle East, but most people are watching it like a spectacle. They focus on surface level narratives, military strikes, political alliances, escalation, and retaliation. But if you only look at the surface, you miss the real story, because beneath all of this, there is a deeper competition happening. This is not just about conflict. This is about who controls energy, who controls money, and ultimately who controls the global system. To understand what is really going on, we need to step back and look at three underlying forces shaping this moment. For decades, the global financial system has revolved around one core idea: the dominance of the US dollar. At the center of that system was the petrodollar arrangement. Oil is priced in dollars, and because countries need those dollars to buy energy, it creates constant global demand for US currency. This demand supports US debt, financial markets, and geopolitical influence. But today, this system is under pressure. Global trade is becoming more fragmented, and some countries are looking for alternatives. So the US strategy is evolving. It is no longer just about finance, it is about integrating military presence, energy security, and financial systems into one unified structure. A system where energy flows remain stable and dollar based, key regions are secured through strategic alliances, and global transactions continue to pass through dollar networks. You can think of this as a strategic control system rather than just a financial one. And this is why regions like the Middle East remain so critical, because whoever influences this region influences the flow of global energy, and whoever influences energy has leverage over the global financial system. At the same time, a different trend is slowly taking shape. Countries like China and Russia are exploring ways to reduce their reliance on the dollar, not through confrontation, but through gradual adjustment. This includes settling trade in local currencies, building alternative payment systems, and expanding cooperation within BRICS. The goal is not to replace the dollar overnight. That is unrealistic. The goal is to create options, because once alternatives exist, countries gain flexibility, and once flexibility increases, dependence decreases. Over time, this can slowly reshape the system, but this process is uneven. Some countries still rely heavily on the dollar, while others are experimenting with new models, and many are doing both at the same time. For example, energy exporting countries in the Middle East may continue using dollars for stability, while also exploring alternative arrangements for diversification. This creates a complex and fluid landscape, not a clean break, but a gradual shift. There is also a third dimension, less visible but increasingly important: the role of gold and new financial technologies. In recent years, central banks around the world have been increasing their gold reserves. Why? Because gold is not tied to any single country. It is seen as a neutral, a store of value. At the same time, technology is beginning to change how transactions are processed. We are seeing experiments with central bank digital currencies, the development of blockchain-based settlement systems, and efforts to reduce the cost and time of cross-border payments. These systems are still developing. They are not replacing the current system yet, but they introduce new possibilities. For example, transactions that do not rely on traditional intermediaries, settlement systems that are faster and more decentralized, and financial infrastructures that are less dependent on a single dominant currency. None of this is fully mature, but it points to a future where the global financial system could become more diversified. So, where does Iran fit into all of this? You see, Iran is not just a country involved in regional tensions, it is a strategic node within this broader system. Geographically, it sits near critical energy routes. Economically, it holds significant energy resources. Politically, it exists outside the core US aligned system. That combination makes it important because influence in this region is not just about territory, it is about shaping energy flows, trade routes, and financial alignment. This is why actions in this region often have global implications. They affect not only local stability, but also the structure of the international system. So when you look at the headlines, do not just focus on what is visible. The real story is not the immediate conflict. The real story is the competition between different systems. A system trying to maintain dominance, a system trying to create alternatives, and emerging technologies that may reshape the rules entirely. This is not a short-term event. This is a long-term transition, and we are still in the early stages. The outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The future of global power will not be decided only on the battlefield. It will be decided in how energy is priced, how transactions are settled, and which system the world chooses to trust.